All right, this is gonna be fun. This is our first video, first podcast. If
Here
you
we
will,
go. We're off and running.
So I know this is a lot of fun. So I'll introduce ourselves here. Marcus Van Zant, owner, broker, Marcus and Company Realty, and Rick Cusack, who is our director of growth and expansion. And such an exciting time here at this company. And I'm so blessed to have Rick here. But Rick, I want to really start out this first video and just give a little background about who you are, why you joined Marcus and Company, and your background, just where you've been, and why, how in the world this blessing occurred that you and I, after knowing each other for so many years, have now joined forces.
Sure, absolutely. It's interesting to look back a little bit and to think about, people that told me all along the way as I was in business as a young man that, remember the things you're learning, and make sure you value and treasure your experiences because they're going to come back again. I didn't really heed that advice, but I'm seeing now how all the things that I learned leading up till now have put me in this position, which I truly believe is the perfect position for me at this point in time.
Right.
Being involved in the growth and expansion for Marcus and Company. As you know, certainly, I came here as an agent. I had been an agent at several other brokerages, large, small, what have you. They all kind of end up being the same, if you ask me. And but I wanted to get back to my community, and really that was my only goal. So I knew that all brokerages were the same. They're basically not going to do a lot. You just work out and you go sell, and everything works out. But when I came here and we first sat down and I started asking you a couple of questions and you started really explaining to me what it is you're doing here at Marcus and Company, I was completely blown away, as you know. And I left here not even being able to sleep. Like, I was up just thinking about the opportunity that's here, that really exists here, that is truly not available at any other brokerage, because I've been there. I've been through it. And as you know, it took me a couple of days and I came back, and then we started the conversations about what I believe my choice was. I could either come here, make a lot of money, be successful, as anyone can, because that's what you're offering them. You have so many programs and tools and resources that are available. Or I could come here and help 100 other people be successful and do the same thing. And I believe it was a God thing, and that's what landed in my heart and on my mind. And we started chatting, and as you know, you were blown away, and I think your wife confirmed, like, that's why we thought Rick was there in the first place, which is just awesome. So yeah, we're off and running. It's been about a month, and couldn't be happier, man. Super excited, just love seeing the folks come in and getting the agents signed up, and so much more to come. And here we go.
Well, in that conversation we had about what I think the future is of real estate, what I think the future of Marcus and Company is, and everything else. And like I said, I wasn't thinking of you for this position either because of what you stated your desires were right at first. So it wasn't a thing for me, which is why my wife's like, "What? Why didn't you even think about that?" And I'm like, "Well, it wasn't there." Right. Usually I am thinking that, and for some reason this one skipped by me. But my whole idea for a partner for growth and expansion had everything to do with, I'm not a big advocate for the type of recruiting that happens in real estate, right? Quite frankly, I hate the way we recruit, right? It's a numbers game. You take that from NAR all the way down. They really don't care about the quality of the agent. They just care about the quantity of the agent because they pay fees. And I think we've taken that into brokerages too, with an 85% failure rate in or actually it's probably 86% failure rate in real estate, where, in 5 years, an agent loses their license. I think there's a big problem in real estate where we make this false promise. So what I was looking for was somebody with some business acumen, somebody who had been in business before, that could, when we started approaching agents, as well as other expansion opportunities that we're going to be talking about at some point along the way, not in this video, but how do we approach this, our recruiting, from a business standpoint? And can I find somebody that not only loves people and has a love for people to go do this thing, but also to have that conversation with folks when they're coming in here to say, listen, this is a business. Right. And so you come from that business background, as well as other things. A lot of people are going to know you from ministry and the church world too. But if you could talk to me a little bit about your business background.
Well, the business, as I said, I started off by saying, you look back and you see the things you've done and the things you've learned. I actually did this role as the CEO of an insurance agency in Pennsylvania. So when I started off as a young man, I worked for my dad, got involved, learned a bit about the business, and then quickly branched out on my own because, quite frankly, I knew more than he did, right? That was my mindset at the time. I was going to show him how to do the insurance business, right? I was in my 20s. And, he didn't find it humorous, but, I went off and started my own and learned a lot of lessons through that. But really what it came down to was recruiting great agents. Mm-hmm. It was in insurance, not real estate, but all the things that I went through and what I found and that worked and didn't work for both those agents and for my firm, I can now take that and use it here and help people really grow and get connected and get involved in what we're doing here.
And I think like me, we've talked about this, and the simple fact is I think experience has given us some wisdom and to maybe soften us a bit, in which, early in our 20s or 30s, we were chasing a dollar versus trying to help people.
Right.
How has that evolution helped you, or how has that occurred for you as far as the early years and being all about business and let me show you dad and all these kind of things? Because again, I'm second generation broker too. So same thing. I came up in an industry, stuck with an industry, and it's really what drives me to be successful is I don't want to take all that value that I receive from my folks. My dad was a broker, my mom owned a title company, and waste it. How stupid would that be if I failed? Right? Like, that made me feel like a moron. So your life and your experiences now, you came here to focus on you. You came here to focus on sales and personal. What is it about you now that said, wait a minute, I can do a lot more for a lot more people versus that?
Right. Well, that's interesting. And that's, it's very humbling, but it's almost like I slipped back because, as you said, I did come here for me. I came here looking for the opportunity that was going to be the best, that I was going to be able to excel and really crush it, because that's what I had become accustomed to. But I have to thank the ministry world, the church, for really getting me involved in understanding people and finding out how people are equipped and what we're all about, and really putting people over processes, which I never did in business, ever. You know what I mean? I was kind of straight to it. We needed to produce or you're not with us, kind of a thing. So again, I learned a tremendous amount in the 10 years I spent serving in ministry. And now I'm able to apply those things. As I said, even the simple thing of coming here for me, but it was like the Lord got a hold of me the minute I walked out, and he's like, whoa, this ain't about you. Did you forget everything we just learned? And that was awesome. I mean, what an amazing feeling that was. And for him to plant that seed with me that, you can go ahead and help yourself. And certainly he'll allow that. I can come here and do all the things and be competitive and stir things up and do the Rick show, my show, but it's not about me, Marcus. It's bigger than me, and this is bigger than me, and I just want to be a part of it. And when I'll tell you one thing you said to me that I'll never forget was about raising kids, about how you liken your business to raising kids, how when we're dads, you bring your child up, right? You train them up, you show them what to do, you help them, you answer the question, you do everything you can for them until one day they're ready to go do it for themselves. And that's what you've built here. Yeah. That you bring agents in, whether they're new or they're underproducing or whatever their situation is. Maybe they're having an off year. Maybe they got involved with the wrong brokerage. Whatever it is, they can come here and we can take them through that process until one day, they're ready to then, do it on their own. And that just blew me away.
Well, you mentioned that, like, I've got some great mentors in business. I've got some great mentors in my walk of faith as well. And for me, it really comes down to that, even that discipleship part of things, right? I always knew in real estate, and the reason we were a team before we were ever a team of Ridge and a brokerage like we run now, is that I was limited on what I could do by myself, right? And I looked at business as I study business and say, okay, what is a business about? The businesses are about solving problems, right? You talked about your insurance company and the success that you had was because you solved the problem that businesses had and things like that. And I look at it and go, okay, what's the problem in the landscape of real estate? And I went back to that number I already mentioned, the 86%. It is somewhere between 85 and 87%. So as you hear this video, I may say one word or the other, but it depends on what it is. It's going to be one number or the other. Either way, it's a massive amount of failure. And you look at it and you go, what's the problem in real estate? And the problem in real estate doesn't have to do with buyers and sellers. Let's just be honest with that. I mean, if you have Google, GTS, as I always say, Google that shit, find the best, right? You have buyers and sellers can find the best agents. The problem is when you look at that number, that 85, 87%, you've got a massive failure in making promises to people that aren't kept. And I learned that early when I came out of college recruiting. It was American Express, I think. They were always looking for salespeople. Do you remember those days?
Yeah.
Right? And they were looking to be salespeople or whatever it is. And even then, they're like, well, we're just hoping 1 out of 10 stick. And I'm like, that's kind of what we do here with no great plan.
Yes.
So the thing was, build a plan. And as you study business, what does it say? 70% of all businesses fail in the first 2 years or something like that. But as you study, why? Because they have too much money going out, not enough money coming in. And so most businesses fail. And I think 90% over 10 years fail. If you can get past that 10-year mark, you're doing something magical that most people can't. So as you look at that failure, it come down to, when I just applied what you talked about and go, listen, have a plan for the agents until one day they can take over and have a plan for themselves. But that plan must be make enough money, having income running in so that you can learn the business. You know, one of the worst mistakes is when we're interviewing agents, right? First day off, and they're like, I want to make this. And I'm like, you've never sold anything yet. Can you prove you can do one? Right. You know, now we will have that conversation, right? And the magical number, I think, is 6 closings. The faster you get to 6 closings, the more butt kicking you're going to have. You have deals fall apart, inspection issues, all these things that happen. But once you have that, you're going to, as an agent or any business owner, kind of an aha moment. That aha moment is, oh, I don't need to know everything to be successful, but I do need to make money and have enough clients to do it, right? And so that's the plan. The plan is to have all the systems available that we need and not overkill everybody. You talked about some of the companies that you've been at. A lot of people talk about all their technology, and the best technology that we have is this little thing right here, which is our cell phone. It's actually having communication, having conversations with clients. And are we creating, does the brokerages do that? Do the brokerages have enough opportunity, or does the agent themselves have enough opportunity, or can they create enough opportunity to do that? Now, you mentioned a couple. Do you mind if we name them, where you came from and the different brokerages and what you saw?
Yeah, sure.
You've had some experiences at smaller brokerages or larger brokerages. You've spent some time at a Remax. You've spent some time with Compass. You spent some time on some smaller things. You know, we're an independent. People look at us and like, oh, you're a small brokerage. But what was, you know, other than just that hometown feel, what is different? Why could you see, and I think you were even offered a sales management or director position even within Compass. What makes it different here where an agent can come in here and find success that they might, whether they're new, brand new, newer-ish, you know, not succeeding and or successful, what is different about what we've created over the last, I would say probably 24 months, because we really put our foot down on the gas, that you saw different from what you've experienced in those other companies?
Well, it's really simple to do the comparison, because at the other companies, at least my experience was I received very little, if not anything. You know, you'd walk into this great agency feel, but there was no support. There was no one to help me. I just felt like I was alone. And that was a struggle, even for someone like myself, who I don't think I'm introverted by any stretch. You know what I mean? I'm pretty much out there, and I'll talk to anybody, and you know, genuinely care about the conversation, which I didn't used to. Again, ministry. Thank you for, you know, teaching me those things. But you know, I really do care. But the difference was that here you had the entire package. I wasn't going to come here or meet with you because you had leads, or because you know, you had coaching, or that you could train. As a matter of fact, I felt like I had that already. But you put it all together in a way that any agent that follows the program will be successful. It's that clear. You go through this DCBA program where you actually categorize the leads based on what season they're in. You know, so if you have an A category, those folks are closing in the next 30 days, right? If somebody is in that category and they're not closing, they're out. Like, you move them to B. I mean, you actually force people to be accountable to themselves because of the different systems and programs you have in place. And I that is not available anywhere else. And the fact that you're available, right? So you've got this team feel, but you're part of a brokerage. You're part of the larger and you're part of the smaller, because it's the same. It really is an amazing concept that you put together.
Well, I appreciate that.
And again, being back and getting to the community, I think community has a lot to do with it. I really needed to be back in my community. Doing the, you know, the Compass run was really following their luxury brand, and kind of that's, and they coddled me through that. It was like, okay, well, yeah, Longboat Key, and let's go down here and let's do that. But it wasn't my community. It's not where I'm from. Those
Right.
are not my people, if
Right.
you will. So again, talking to you, coming back, getting involved, being in relationship, reaching out, connecting with your centers of influence, right? Your sphere.
Mhm.
You had every piece of the puzzle, and it was all put together for me.
Right.
So all I had to do is come in and sit and be part of that.
Right.
And I just found that to be not only amazing, but very welcoming.
Well, and I want to let's touch on a couple of those pieces, right? I want to kind of really right now, I don't know where this is going to go for us right into today in talking. We just really wanted to sit down and get this going, and maybe even have several different topics we hit today, because we got you and me. We talked about this, and we were talking about, hey, listen, when we finally sit down, let's just talk.
We missed like the last like 10 conversations we've had in your office that have lasted like 2.5 hours. We missed all that. We could have. I know.
We're like, hey, I'm going to come in for 15 minutes. I'm like, all right, and then we're like, okay,
well, might as well grab lunch because it's now lunch.
Grab lunch and put a camera in our face. So let's go with this, right? Because we're going to talk about a lot of things, because I think we have the same passion for helping people be successful and do all this kind of stuff. But just kind of formulating from where we started to where we're at and why we came up with this plan finally. It was a situation in which, and you mentioned being an extrovert, and I want to go back to that real quick. I'm not. As crazy as that sounds to people, and they're saying I'm an extroverted introvert, right? And so for me, I'm not a huge networker. I don't, and we've known each other, from the church, and you could attest to this. I don't walk into any crowded room and start hitting every spot, right?
No.
And now I think those $50 million and $100 million agents have to be in a way, but you can make a great living if you have the right systems, not being that. Now, you're going to have some extrovertedness about you, because you're going to have to, it's got to be about people. You're going to want to be around people. You're going to have to, and know that that's the only way to get, sales is all about folks, and people.
Right.
Success in any way, shape, or form is going to be because it wasn't just because you're never going to get there by yourself, no matter what. Like, I'm out here battling by myself. Well, if you got buyers and sellers, you're not battling out there by yourself, right? There's multiple people that are always going to be involved in any kind of success that you had. But we created this thing from the jump because, as a team, because I knew my personality, I was not going to be able to accomplish all of it. Everything I wanted to accomplish, I was never going to accomplish it doing it by myself, because I did not have the ability. And I often say, and you've heard me say this, is like, I think one of my strengths is the fact that I understand and I appreciate my weaknesses. And I need to avoid those issues that are weaknesses that I can't fix. It's a massive mistake, and I know we have to get through it. And if kids are watching this, I apologize to the parents, whatever it is. But it's a massive mistake to be in school and go, hey, you suck at math, you're great at science, I need you to double down on the math, right? That's not what we do in business, is it?
Right.
We hire somebody to do the math so we can double down on the science, right? And so the thing that we have to do is we have to double down on the things that we're great at and either get rid of or hire away the stuff that we're not good at. Well, the issue that I had was I'm not a great networker. Where are my leads coming from? Where's my business coming from? So I got really, really, really good at web leads. Right. And that's the thing that we have, which is where we're at now. It took us all the way forward, instead of being a team, creating this teamerage concept. And I'm not going to take credit for the name. I'm in one of the first, but, created this back in early 2020, the teamerage concept. But it was like, oh my gosh, get out of the way. And it was a God thing for me. It's like, get out of the way. So in 2020, I stopped selling. I'm like, how many more people like you, how many more people can I help? Because leverage is going to help us do more for buyers and sellers. But the reality is, I know the ups and downs that I've experienced in life. I understand those ups and downs in sales and what that looks like, those peaks and those valleys. And it sucks. Those valleys suck. But do you have somebody that you can go through those with? Do you have somebody that when the finances are tight, the business can keep flowing? And those are the things I think that we need as a business. And so we created this teamerage idea and just kind of simplified it. All these companies you mentioned, the Compasses and the Remax and all that, great companies, whatever, they have some great technologies, but we overkill with all that stuff. We overkill with the technologies. We're never getting to it. We're one person. We can't do it all on our own. So how much technology is enough technology? And are you doing all this technology to avoid the number one thing that you need to be doing?
Being in relationship.
Being in relationships. Having a community, having a conversation with people about the thing that we do. And I've challenged my agents a lot. I'm like, okay, now bust out your phone, open up your contacts, and who's comfortable going down the line and having call after call after call about real estate. All right, now let's get started. And you look at people panic faces, and I'm like, see, we're not ready. And that shows you, because the extroverts, okay, right? I'm gonna take off. I'm gonna go. But that's not all we have in real estate. So how do we overcome those issues along the way? And how do we simplify the game? It's a complex game. We're never going to eliminate it all. But how do we simplify in a way that the person who's supposed to be in sales can be successful? Now, I say the person who, right, we know these folks, right? There is a line between customer service and sales. Yeah. Some folks need to stay on the side of customer service, and they're great people, nice people. We've given them shots, given them chances. They come into real estate. They should just stay on customer service side, because it's not normal to try to ask people to make decisions, which is what sales are, right? Sales is, getting people to make hard decisions that they want to make, but they find it hard to make. Yeah. Right. We're not forcing somebody to buy something they hate. That's not, it's not going to happen. But so let's get into the growth, right? Let's talk about right now the amazing growth opportunity that we saw and that you saw here with Marcus & Company, and some of the things that we had just experienced just in the last couple of weeks. I mean, here we are in July of 2024 on this video, and we've heard about some of the amazing growth opportunities. So what is it that you think in talking to agents that you can provide to agents here, at Marcus & Company, that they're not going to be able to get? You mentioned accessibility and all those kind of things, but what do you said you didn't come for the leads. Let's talk about the leads. Yeah. It's important. I think it's important. What are you seeing? Well,
I think the reason the leads are so valuable here is because you're actually giving the agents the leads so that they can build their business. You've said it many times in our conversations. It's their business. It's not. They're not coming here to be part of your business. You're helping them establish and grow their business. And what you're doing through these leads is having them nurture them and grow them until the point where they can take them on and they become their customers and then part of their sphere of influence. So that as well is not available anywhere else. The whole package is not available. I heard another statistic the other day, which was very interesting, but along the lines of, they are now saying that I think it was 83% of new agents leave the industry within 8 months.
8 months. I didn't hear that one yet.
8 months now.
Wow.
I just heard it.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because of, there's a lot of factors right now.
Especially
with interest rates. And so if you don't have that support and you don't have the leads, right? Going back to the leads, you're not going to get anywhere. Where do you go with that? You only know so many people, and only so many people are ready to buy a house. And is now the right time? I mean, that's probably the biggest conversation right now. Is it really necessary? Is it the right time? So a lot of people are on the fence waiting. But with the leads, there are still the same number of people every month that want to buy, but they're funneling through leads, and those are what you're able to provide to agents, and that makes a huge difference.
You know how I think it's been over the last couple of years that I've seen, and any kind of coaching that I have taken or I've seen out there, they talk about not saying you have leads. Well, you don't want people to come join you because of the leads. You don't want people to stay because of the leads. And I'm going, I think that's wrong. Because I don't look at leads as leads. They're opportunity. I just call them opportunity, right?
People.
And, the thing is that you come here, it's like, yes, I have the leads. Marcus & Company Realty owns a certain percentage of leads, right? And we do a lot of lead gen for our agents. I don't own the relationships, and that's the mistake. I've had a lot of agents no longer at Marcus & Company because a lot of people just won't take it, right? It just doesn't, it's not the best fit in real estate,
right?
Whether we're the right fit or not. But the mistake that people say, they're like, well, you have all these leads. Yes, but I'm trying to help you create the relationship. I can't, no individual. And that was one of the reasons I started my own company. I came from corporate too, and I came from, and I was with Washington Mutual when it imploded and all those kind of things. I had enough experience in corporate that I've seen around, and you hear all the stories and all the horror stories that, 20 years later, somebody pulls the rug out under your career and you're having to start over at an age at which you don't want to be starting over. And that scared the hell out of me. I'll be honest with you, whatever. And so I went, okay, what can I do that doesn't occur? Which is, I fought the family business for years, and finally at 35 years old started, real estate. But it was one of those things is like, I could build something for myself that nobody could pull the rug out from under. Well, that's what I'm trying to create here. Now, Can that occur within the first 2 years? Probably not. You haven't talked to enough clients, most likely, and built the relationships. It takes
Right.
time
For
to
a
build
newer agent. Yeah.
I mean, it takes time to build a business, right? I mean, you weren't successful overnight, at any venture that you did. Building that longevity. Let's talk about that real quick. We have agents coming, and you're talking to agents already. And a lot of people get in here and say, we want to build a career in real estate, right? And they don't have a business plan. But define building a business, if you would, like in your ideas on what it takes here in real estate. How long do you think it's going to take to build something that somebody's sustainable with?
Well, what's interesting that question is most people don't have that view. Most people are looking to make some money. They're looking for a side gig. They're looking to supplement, or they're just not there. And you take
not treating it as a business, you mean?
Exactly. And you take that so seriously that, we don't hire part-time agents. We don't hire referral agents. We don't hire people that are looking to just hang their license somewhere. One of your core principles is all in. You've got to be all in. And that's not for Marcus. That's for the person. And once they get that, they really get what all that means. Just like being a salesperson, you start many meetings reminding people we're salespeople.
Right.
We're not realtors. We're not, what's the word I'm looking for? Like tour guides, it's just not what it is. We're salespeople. And if you're going to come here, you got to sell, right? If you can't sell, you can't be here.
Right.
And that's something they'll determine on their own. But when you have agents that we're engaging in conversation with, and all they're really concerned about is, what's the split, or, how much am I going to make? Well, you got to look at your production first, because 100% of what you're making isn't going to get you there. So let us put together that plan and work with you to build, right? Going back to your question, to build that pipeline, to build your funnels, to build your business, so that one day you can step in any direction and it's your business.
Right.
And that's really the goal of what you've created. That does not exist anywhere else.
No.
There's a place here for everyone. It's just a matter of, do they want to fit in and make it happen? Every salesperson.
Right. Yeah. Because if you look at those failure numbers that we talked about a minute ago, and you go, okay, if it's true that 90% of businesses fail within 10 years, the golden plan to build is to survive 10 years, right?
Yeah.
You have to look at God, people want to avoid reality, right? And read some books, crack a book. And, when you study business and you study, and I'm just a sponge when it comes to that. I love successful people, especially because I have yet to meet a successful person that hasn't had a few blemishes, right? Whether it's bankruptcy, foreclosures, dead ass broke, whatever it was.
And if you can get those, that's the goal.
Oh my God.
That's
you
the
hate
secret
going
sauce.
through stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Anybody right now listening to this and you're going through something, whether it's anything hard, right now going through it, you're going to look at that and go, my God, this is the worst. Why do I have to go through this, whatever it is? There's not a single person I've ever met that gone through something on the back end and went, man, I can't believe the lessons I've learned.
Yeah.
And that's the only way to do that. Experience or wisdom comes from experience. Experience, in my estimation, comes from all the ass kicking that you take throughout time. But building a business, and you can treat this as something, and you can call yourself a realtor. There's a bunch of dead ass broke realtors in this market, and that's not paying you. The moment you sign up for any association in real estate, you're a realtor. That's not a profession.
Yeah.
That's a title. Right. And there's no going back to the leads things. I looked at like your business and things like that. There's not a single sales organization that's out there that doesn't provide leads. Right. Like most organizations, whether it's going to be from pharmaceuticals or selling roofing shingles, they're going to give you a list of names and builders and different things like that to call up on, or they're going to have a lead generation source. And they're like, here, you're going to start calling on these folks, and you're going to start calling on these folks. In real estate, a week and a half of class at a state exam, and boom, you're in sales. And my God, my phone's not ringing. What happens? And then I have no money to build the systems to be successful. So we expect this business. And that's why I looked at it. I'm like, why would we not provide leads? Why would we not? We're the only organization we're going to go, don't tell people you provide leads. What?
There's a lot of people here that are thankful you did.
Well, I'm thankful I do too. Because I hate the failure rate, and we still have our share, right? There's no doubt about that one. But thankfully, it's only about 50%, not the 87%. But that's not because they were bad people or anything like that. That's just because people do realize, I don't like sales. Right? I'm not going to chase this thing. That's a very difficult thing to do as far as that goes. Right. So, all right, Rick, thanks for this conversation. It was a great conversation. So, hope everyone watches and follows us along on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Appreciate their time and appreciate your time with the conversation.